Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into fascinating topics, extract the most important insights, and, well, deliver them directly to you.
And today, we're tackling something huge, something that, let's face it, occupies a lot of headspace. The search for romantic success.
Oh, yeah. You see them everywhere, don't you? Those books, the guides, all promising to unlock the secrets, maybe teach you tricks, or even help you, manage love.
It's true. Our culture is just overflowing with advice, often conflicting advice, really, all suggesting that if you just find the right playbook, you can somehow master the madness of love.
Right. But what if?
Yeah.
What if that very urge, that need to control love, is actually the biggest romantic mistake we're making?
And that's exactly our central question for this deep dive. We're going to challenge quite a bit of that conventional wisdom.
We're using Mari Ruti's book, The Case for Falling in Love, Why We Can't Master the Madness of Love and Why That's the Best Part, as our guide here.
Yeah, Ruti, she's a professor of critical theory, uses cultural criticism, gender studies, psychoanalysis, basically looking at how power, society, our unconscious minds, how all that shapes how we even think about relationships.
And she mixes in real-world examples, critiques of, the big self-help names like John Gray, Sherry Argov.
It's a really fascinating look at why maybe embracing love's wild, unpredictable side is. Well, maybe that's the actual path to fulfillment, not trying to tame it.
So Ruti really just jumps right in, doesn't she? Challenges us from the get-go.
Oh, absolutely.
She starts with this bold statement, the myth that learning to read the male psyche leads to romantic success, and then hits us with the fact there's no such thing as a male psyche.
Boom,
Yeah.
right there. That cuts against so much of what you hear constantly.
Totally. And what's interesting is how she connects this to our broader culture.
Exactly. This pragmatic culture we live in, it pushes us to streamline everything, optimize everything, our jobs, how we eat.
Yeah, efficiency above all.
Right. And Ruki argues that this thinking bleeds into love. It fosters this belief that love, too, can be managed, optimized, figured out, like some kind of, like a business plan.
Which sounds kind of sterile when you put it like that.
It really does. And the book argues that this desire to manage love often leads to something genuinely harmful.
Which is?
Faking who you are.
Ah. Can you unpack that a bit? Why is that so bad, according to Ruti?
Well, she says whether it's, changing how you dress or how you talk or your body language to become this dream girl or vixen ideal, that's just fundamentally opposed to the spirit of love itself.
Because it's not real.
It's not real. And Ruti's core insight here is pretty profound. Any relationship you build on that kind of performance, it's fundamentally unstable. It doesn't lead to real connection.
It leads to, what does she call them, romantic dead ends.
Romantic dead ends, exactly. And a real erosion of your self-worth. You start to feel like the real you isn't good enough.
And this critique goes deeper, right? Into specific advice Ruti finds harmful.
Oh, yeah. Things like keeping a guy guessing or pretending you care less than you do.
The game-playing stuff.
Exactly. Or that advice for women to just echo what men say to make them feel manly and important. Ugh.
So what's the ultimate problem with playing these games?
She argues it turns love into just manipulation, a strategy. And it kind of normalizes male behaviors that, frankly, a lot of women find hurtful.
Like the idea that all men are predators, or commitment folks who only want what they can't have.
Yes, or that women have to play hard to get. It's just deeply flawed thinking. Rusi even shares a personal story, a painful breakup with a guy who was manipulative, insulting.
Yeah.
But she quickly contrasts that. She says, look, most modern men aren't like that. They're genuinely decent. They're actively looking for good relationships.
Okay, so she's not just theorizing. Which brings us to something I found really interesting, her light bulb test.
Oh, the light bulb test. It's brilliant.
Tell us about it. She actually asked guys, right? Are you turned off if a woman changes a light bulb?
Yep. An informal survey of her male friends. And the responses are fantastic. They totally undercut the self-help cliche.
Okay, give us some examples.
All right, so Sean, he's a scientist and author. He says he's much more attracted to women who are competent and not afraid of showing it. Even mentioned his wife has a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Huh. Okay, competence is attractive. Got it.
Then Richard, a lawyer, he said, okay, maybe he might be turned on if his ambitious wife asked him to change a bulb.
Oh, why?
Only because it would mean she'd finally come up for air from her demanding work.
Okay, that's funny. And there was a philosopher, too.
David, yes. And his response was gold. He said if a woman didn't know how to change a light bulb, it'd be a surefire sign that she's pretty much a moron.
Wow, blunt.
He said he's looking for a bitch that rips and doubts a woman who can't change a light bulb would make the cut.
Okay, so maybe not the most delicately phrased, but the point is clear.
Exactly. And Ruti adds this story about her friend Jean, who's super handy, loves assembling IKEA furniture.
Right.
Jean's been married to Michael for over 15 years. Not because she's helpless, but maybe, Ruti jokes, because she can rattle off the batting average of every major baseball player in the nation.
So this whole light bulb test really flips that script, doesn't it? That myth that men want helpless women who let them take the lead.
Completely flips it.
Right.
What's the core message here? Ruti wants us to see that many quality men are actually looking for an equal relationship.
With someone competent, independent.
Yeah, yes. Not someone playing a role or faking helplessness. The deeper thing is that authenticity, competence, serious, those are deeply attractive qualities, often way more attractive than some kind of manufactured dependency.
Which leads her to what she calls the knuckle dragger dilemma.
Ah, the knuckle dragger.
This specific type of hyper macho guy that self-help sometimes seems to glorify. Explain that.
Right. She says the self-help world often pushes dating these macho guys, the ones who refuse directions, always flexing their egos, grunt when you talk about feelings.
Yeah, that stereotype.
And Ruki finds this totally baffling. She's like, I don't actually know any men like that. Well, maybe one woman she knows fits the bill.
Huh.
So she questions, do these authors really believe this is the average guy? Or are they just reflecting what women have been culturally sort of programmed to expect? Or maybe what just appeals to a very specific, maybe limited group?
That's a really good question, and it flows right into the next big challenge. This deeply ingrained idea that men and women are naturally different.
Especially when it's based on really simplistic evolutionary biology models.
Right. Ruti points out that lots of popular writers pin everything on biology, but actual scientists, sociologists, psychologists often report that the differences among men or among women are actually way bigger than the differences between the groups.
Yeah, that's a key point. And she specifically takes issue with some claims by the anthropologist Helen Fisher.
Helen Fisher, what's the critique there?
Well, Fisher makes some valuable points. Ruti acknowledges that. But then she makes some head-scratching claims, like Fisher notes female chimps initiate sex maybe 85% of the time.
Okay.
But then she also theorizes that women historically didn't care about sports because of their evolutionary psyches. She uses this example of hapless giraffes on the African veldt.
Wait, giraffes? How does that connect to sports?
It's a bit of a leap, yeah. And it just falls totally flat when you look at the real world.
Like women packing Fenway Park for baseball.
Exactly. Or Ruti's own mother glued to the Olympics or the World Cup. Or her friend Trish, a nurse, who apparently watches way more sports than her husband does.
Not to mention, Serena Williams or countless other female athletes.
Right. It just shows this huge disconnect between some of these biological theories and, well, life, our lived reality.
So if it's not strictly biology dictating these differences,
Yeah.
What is it?
Ruti emphasizes socialization, gender indoctrination, how deeply it starts, even before we're born.
Pink nurseries, blue nurseries.
Pink versus blue, dolls versus trucks, the block areas for boys and home areas for girls in preschool. It shapes interests, skills, expectations from day one.
Which brings us to that famous Simone de Beauvoir quote, "One is not born a woman, but becomes one." What's the significance of that here for romance?
It's huge. It highlights how these cultural codes, these ideas of appropriate femininity or masculinity, get so deeply ingrained they feel natural, they feel innate.
Like, oh, that's just how women are, or that's just how men think.
Exactly. But Ruti shows how often that feeling is actually the result of relentless societal messaging, not some biological imperative.
She uses this image of culture as a spider's web, right? Developing this unconscious momentum.
Yeah, a web that catches us without us even realizing it. It's invisible, but incredibly powerful. And she argues even the self-help authors are caught in this web.
So we need to question these self-evident truths.
Absolutely. Just like people had to question things during the civil rights movement or the women's rights movement, challenging what seems obvious is crucial.
And the payoff for doing that?
The payoff is agency, freedom. If we see gender as something we do, something constructed, rather than just something we are biologically,
then we can change it.
We can change it. We can build relationships that are more democratic, more passionate, more real. We can move beyond these outdated scripts.
Okay, let's shift to authentic connection then. Escaping fantasy. Ruti uses this old story, the Sandman.
Yes, E.T.A. Hoffman's story. Nathaniel falls for Olympia, who's basically a doll. He ditches his real fiancée for her.
Why? What does that illustrate?
It's about narcissistic love.
Yeah.
Loving a reflection of yourself. Olympia just says, Basically echoing whatever Nathaniel says, the partner becomes just a screen for your own ego.
And how does that manifest in the real world? Because that sounds pretty extreme.
Well, what's fascinating and maybe a little scary is how it does play out.
Hmm.
Ruti gives this example of Ethan,
Ethan.
presented himself as this sensitive environmentalist type. But he used psychobabble, gaslighting techniques.
Gaslighting making you doubt your own reality.
Exactly. Saying things like, no one can hurt you without your consent. Basically twisting things to blame his girlfriends whenever they got upset by his behavior.
Wow. So they couldn't even express their feelings.
You left them no space to be themselves, she writes. Made them believe their own reactions were the problem, not his actions.
That sounds incredibly manipulative, and she connects this to Hitchcock.
To Vertigo, yeah. Where Scotty tries to literally remake Judy into his dead fantasy lover, Madeline.
Right, changing her hair, her clothes.
And the film is brutal about
Yeah.
what happens when the fantasy object, when Judy stops perfectly embodying Madeline. She has to be eradicated. She dies. It shows the cold, destructive side of forcing someone into your ideal.
And the self-help connection here is...
That's some self-help advice. Disturbingly, kind of props this up. By telling women to play Madeline act distant, hard to get.
It attracts the wrong kind of guy.
It can attract these self-centered types, and it makes it really hard for women to just be upfront about what they actually want and need. Playing a part, even if it seems to work initially, sets you up for a relationship based on illusion, not real connection.
But she does see hope in some modern stories, like rom-coms.
Yeah, she points to movies like Pretty Woman, Miss Congeniality, Made in Manhattan, The Princess Diaries.
The makeover movies.
They have the makeover scenes, sure, but crucially, the heroine's intelligence, their independence, their real selves shine through.
Ah, so they're loved for who they are beyond the fantasy?
Exactly. Julia Roberts' character drives stick better than Richard Gere. Sandra Bullock snorts when she laughs and knows self-defense. They aren't just pretty objects.
Okay, so this leads to the idea of authentic self-possession. What does that actually mean? It's not game playing?
No, definitely not gameplay. Ruti defines it as an inner reservoir of self-reliance. It's knowing your own worth deep down, so you don't need to manipulate a lover.
She has that line, playing hard to get is the weak girl strategy.
Right. A quality person, she believes, can tell the difference between someone playing games and someone who is genuinely self-possessed.
And culture doesn't help here, does it? The way it treats being single.
No, culture often demonizes singleness, especially for women. It pushes people to settle for mediocre relationships just to avoid being alone.
So the book champions what? Being okay with being alone?
Recognizing the rewards of self-sufficiency, yeah. Having the courage to fly solo and really meaning it when you say, I only want you if you truly want me. Not saying it as a tactic.
And Ruti ties this to practical independence too, right? Her own story.
Yes, a really powerful personal story. Getting a good job, paying off debt, buying a house. These things tangibly changed how she saw herself.
How so?
She felt she was no longer bargaining from a position of weakness in relationships. Her self-reliance wasn't just internal, it had a real-world foundation.
And she mentioned a friend, Crystal, with an income disparity issue.
Yeah, Crystal dating a wealthy venture capitalist. The money difference created this power imbalance, making it hard for Crystal to assert herself or feel like an equal.
So financial and professional independence aren't just about the money itself.
No, they build that crucial self-reliance, that inner reservoir Ruti talks about.
Which gives you the strength to draw a line in the sand.
Exactly. To choose singleness over a relationship that demeans you or requires you to be someone you're not.
And a quality partner respects that.
Ruti argues they admire it.
Yeah.
It shows you're with them because you genuinely want to be, not out of desperation or neediness.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The unpredictable heart, embracing imperfection. Ruti has this interesting take on attraction.
Yeah, she suggests that often what really grabs us isn't perfection. It might be a guy's uneven jawline or some other defect, or maybe a woman's quirky shortcomings.
Imperfections, why would those be attractive?
Because they provide an opening, she thinks. A glimpse of something deeper, something authentic that resonates with the fundamental yearning we have.
So love at first sight isn't just biology, like for reproduction.
Not primarily, in Ruti's view. It's more about finding someone who speaks your inscrutable language, that click. When a guy's thing meets your thing.
That feeling of being truly seen, truly understood.
That jubilant feeling, yeah. But then comes the challenge, right? Sustaining that feeling when the person becomes part of your everyday, banal routine.
Right. How do you keep seeing the magic?
Rudy says true love isn't about just grimly enduring the mundane parts. It's about maintaining a spirit of generosity, actively choosing to keep seeing those extraordinary qualities that drew you in, even amidst the ordinary stuff.
And this connects to Freud, repetition compulsion.
Yeah, she brings in Freud's idea. Basically, falling in love isn't always just about the new person in front of you. It often activates these deep, unconscious patterns from childhood.
Like old emotional scripts.
Exactly, like our minds are trying to replay and maybe finally resolve old issues. She uses this great analogy.
The train.
The train. You keep taking the train from Geneva to Paris over and over because of these unconscious bad scripts, even though you actually want to go to Rome.
So we unconsciously recreate old relationship dynamics.
Often, yes. These scripts organize our love lives. Maybe you keep dating people who remind you of a rejecting parent or someone who feels smothering like an overbearing one.
And this can lead to manipulation too, like shifting blame.
Definitely. She gives the example of her friend Amanda and her boyfriend Chris.
What happened there?
Chris was romantic, but also really bossy and critical about tiny things. It made Amanda cry almost daily.
And his response?
Instead of apologizing, he'd tell her she was overreacting or insecure. He blamed her feelings for the tension he was creating.
That's classic gaslighting again.
It is. And Rudy points out that women, often taught to be accommodating or meek, can be especially vulnerable to this. The key insight. Real love doesn't make you constantly doubt your own feelings. Manipulative love does.
Which brings us to a really crucial point Rudy makes. Love failures are not life failures.
Oh, this is so important. Our culture pushes this idea that only the relationship that lasts forever is successful or worthy.
But Rudy disagrees.
Strongly. She argues some of our most profound, far-reaching love affairs are those that fail, because they force breakthroughs, personal growth, renewal. It's about what you gain, even through loss.
She even suggests it's the strong who often get hurt the most.
Yeah, that they get positively pummeled by love, precisely because they're willing to take risks. They put themselves out there. She contrasts this with the cowardice of commitment phobia. Love, in her view, takes resilience. It's fundamentally brave.
And she uses this coin toss analogy, authentic versus counterfeit love.
Right. Some loves are like fake coins. They always land on defeat. They offer nothing truly nourishing in return. But authentic gold coins, even if the relationship ends, they force you to reevaluate everything. They leave this lasting, transformative radiance.
So even a failed authentic love changes you.
It enriches your psychological constitution, as she puts it. It expands who you are, makes you more resilient, more insightful, maybe more compassionate.
And the people we love leave a legacy, even if they leave.
A lasting legacy, yes. They influence our future. They become part of our expanded psychological makeup. Rudy gives a really concrete example from her own life.
About writing.
Yes. After a painful breakup with a partner who was a very efficient writer, she found she'd somehow inherited his level-headed attitude toward writing. It actually improved her own work significantly.
Wow. So loss isn't just emptiness.
No. And while a lost lover might feel utterly irreplaceable, and in some ways they are, Rudy stresses this doesn't mean you can't find other loves just as exquisite, just as meaningful. Loss can be a prelude to something magical. It holds seeds for a new beginning.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this all up. What's the core takeaway from Ruti's perspective? What does this all mean for us trying to navigate love?
I think the biggest message is you cannot control the course of romance. You just can't. So the best approach, maybe the only real approach, is to step right into it, surrender to it, experience it, and learn from it, regardless of how it turns out.
Less control, more surrender, more learning.
Exactly. And it's not constant work or effort that keeps love alive. It's space.
Space. How so?
Space that we fill with our own lives, our own interests, our own growth, that allows for independent development, brings fresh energy back into the relationship. Maintaining some healthy distance, she suggests, actually feeds desire and allows for better communication over time.
And maybe the ultimate act of love, she suggests, is letting go.
It can be, yes. Letting a partner leave without protest, without manipulation, if that's truly what they need. Respecting their autonomy. Only wanting love that is freely given.
Because who wants someone who's just pretending?
Right. And circling back to the start, she really frames the self-help culture itself as a kind of adversary.
Not men.
Not men, generally speaking. She argues that the self-help industry, by convincing women that their success or independence makes them undesirable, is the real problem. Most men are not the backward cavemen those books sometimes portray.
So it's really an anti-rules book.
Totally. The philosophy is incredibly empowering.
Hmm.
Women who prioritize their own lives, their independence, they actually attract quality partners who respect and admire that.
Partners who are passionate, supportive, not afraid of feelings.
Exactly. So the final message is kind of stop trying so hard in that manipulative, game-playing way. Instead, live your life boldly, bravely, audaciously, like a true lover.
Wow. Okay, so a final thought then, something for you, our listener, to mull over.
Ruti forces us to see that love, even when it ends painfully, isn't just about the pain or the loss. It's this incredibly powerful catalyst for growth, for resilience. It refines who we become.
So maybe the question to leave you with is, what kind of growth has love, or perhaps even its absence, catalyzed in your own life? What has it taught you, prepared you for?